Hey yo, yesterday I failed my driving theory exam in Ukraine, but the crazy thing is, that's not my first failure. I already failed 6 freaking times in Sweden before, but I don't blame Sweden for it, as you can see. I blame Ukraine and Ukrainian system for the stupidest, for the dumbest theory exam I've ever seen. So today I want to talk about something interesting. Why is it so difficult to get a driving license in some countries? And are these complicated rules actually making the driver safer, or they're just doing the more complicated way and it's almost impossible to pass the theory exam? This question I'm going breaking down in 2 seconds. My name is Stas. I'm originally from Ukraine, but I lived in Sweden for 3 years, the last 3 years. And for the last year, I've been trying to get the driver's license out there, abroad. If you already have license, you might think that this process is simple. But trust me, sometimes it can be the most hard challenge, the most harsh battle against John Jones in the octagon. And if, let's imagine that you're an average fat guy and you're facing the John Jones. So this is how I feel myself when I'm coming to the special place where I can pass my theory exam, because the questions are so confusing. They have no similarities between the real world, between the real situation when you're going into your car, when you're driving on the road. So these questions have no similarities with the reality. Let's talk shortly about my driving education in Sweden. I'm gonna use the ChatGPT in case of the script, but that's my true story, okay? And I will explain it to you using ChatGPT. In Sweden, I actually completed driving school and I've studied there for 1 month. I did an extreme driving. I finished the theory training and I also practical lessons. Like practical driving lessons, I had 10 of them, and which of them was about 30 minutes of driving. But something even more interesting is that I also completed an extreme course. An extreme course means driving on a slippery road. We experienced emergency braking, losing control of the car, and avoiding obstacles. And I truly believe that this is the most useful thing that everybody can ever do in a case to drive cars safely. This is a special training when you can learn how to control the car in a dangerous situation. And during this training, I understood how quickly things can go wrong on the road, especially when you go higher and higher with the speed gear. Well, or just with the speed. That doesn't really matter. After finishing driving school, I thought, okay, now the theory exam should be easy. But that's when reality hit me. First attempt, I failed. The second one, I came and I failed one more time. But I did really prepare to the test. I studied for many hours per day and I studied the theory. I did those demo versions of tests, but I failed one more time. And the most embarrassing thing, the most embarrassing attempt was when I got 50 correct answers out of 70, but the minimum points were 52. I just crushed my eyes out then. The questions are often very detailed and sometimes they focus on very specific situations or small details that are difficult to remember and which are never happen in a real road, alright? So recently I came back from Sweden to my own country and I decided to take the theory exam here because this is my native country and it's gonna be easier because I know this language and I'm native in Ukrainian, but it didn't go as I thought. Just let's imagine you go to this test. You did prepare to the test. You go out there and after 4 questions, the test system is saying that you are not allowed to continue at the test because you failed 3 times. The first question, I failed. The second question, I failed. The third question, I answered it right. And the fourth question, it's failed again. And the test's over. I had 20 questions and I needed, you don't need to answer 3 wrong questions. Yeah. And an interesting thing is when I asked if I can pass the theory exam and then just go to the practical exam, the woman in the middle age who was sitting just in front of me replied, "No, of course you can't." But I said to her, I already had the full course of driving school in Sweden and I did an extreme session of driving. She replied, well, we cannot support and we don't have an access to the Swedish system and unfortunately you should go to the driver school again. The worst thing is, I didn't pass the exam, okay, I accept it. But then I asked, can I go and pass this exam one more time and I will pay for it one more time? No, I can't. I should wait 10 days. And only after this amount of days I can come back and pass this exam. That's ridiculous. Let's talk differences. In Sweden, the system is very structured and strict. The theory exam contains 70 questions, and you need a high score to pass, which is 52. Many questions are designed to test your understanding of traffic safety, reaction, and responsibility, but most of them... but sometimes that happens that the questions are kind of confusing and complicated. Everything is digital and everything is organized. I will... put on the photo how I passed my exam, how I tested it. But in Ukraine, the theory exam also includes questions about road signs, intersections, priority rules, and traffic situations. However, I don't fucking know how the people who passed this complicated and difficult exam, which I was preparing for almost 2 weeks, they're doing accidents multiple times per day. They drink behind the wheel and they know nothing about the rules. I'm living in the country which is corrupted. But it's the country which is trying to pretend that it's a sovereign country with a democracy. But in real situations, if you know a certain people and you're well known with them, then you can really change something and you can really take what you want. But if you don't know anybody and you're just a regular guy, it's impossible to pass the exam even if you know it. Meanwhile, in Sweden, it's alright. I mean, if you don't know the test, then you don't pass the test. And let's look at the road safety statistics in Ukraine and in Sweden, because I lived in Sweden and I know how it feels when I'm just a walking person going on the street and walking the pedestrian street, and the drivers are really respectful to me as a crossing person. But here, man, it was 3 days ago, I just went on the downtown in my city and I see the situation where the Mercedes just reaching to the pedestrian street, and from the other side there's 2 students, 10-year-old guys. They're trying to cross the pedestrian street and the Mercedes just don't give a fuck. The driver's looking in the phone or just smoking cigarette, I don't fucking know, or just what the fuck is he doing? He don't give a single shit. He's just crossing the pedestrian street, and the distance was 30 centimeters between the car and the student. And the guy saying like, watch out, where are you going? Like, they're blaming themselves because they didn't watch for a car. Like, it's their fault. They don't blame the driver. And it's a completely normal situation when the driver doesn't let the pedestrian cross the road because I'm a driver, I'm a cool guy, I have a car, and you're fucking nobody. You have your 2 legs and go. This really pisses me off, because how did they pass the theory exam, the practical exam, and they don't know the basics? It's the most important safety rules. Yeah, let's watch some statistics which ChatGPT says. Sweden actually has some of the safest roads in the world. I agree with that. In Sweden, there are roughly about 20-25 road deaths per 1 million people each year, which is great. That's extremely low. Yeah, I agree with ChatGPT. Sweden is famous for road safety strategy called Vision Zero. I don't care. And now, if we compare that to Ukraine, the numbers are much higher. Before the war, Ukraine had around 10 road deaths per 100,000 people, which is several times higher than Sweden. This is an official information. But in reality, behind my window, there is tons of more dangerous situation than in Sweden. Because why do I walk in Sweden? Why do I ride a bicycle in Sweden and I feel fucking safe? And here, when I will go to the window right on outside, I will face the second, the third car, and I will feel myself not safe. I will be afraid of my life because the drivers don't give a shit about you pedestrians. And if you are a foreigner and you might thinking, well, I want to visit in Ukraine, it's a beautiful country, it's a beautiful country. Yes, it is a beautiful country, man. But you should be care about your safety first. And just let's clarify, I don't blame the government, I don't blame the Ukrainian system here, especially the theory exam organization. I don't know who the fuck wrote those theory exams, but you're a dummy, you're a fool. That's a point after this question. You're a fool and that's it. The safety is one of the most important rules here. And I'm speaking out of myself as a person who crashed a car. I crashed a car in the middle of the forest, and I know what I'm talking about because it wasn't responsible from my side, and there were other people in the car, and I was responsible for this accident. But I accepted the responsibility, and I know what it actually means to be in an accident. That's not fucking cool, and it don't deserve to just go with the high speed and show your coolness. I don't know why do you break the speed rules? And after my crash, after my car accident, I rethought all my driver's approach. It's really sad when I saw a guy yesterday who passed the theory exam. He came right out of the theory class, and he said to his friend, "Congratulations, man! I passed the exam. Now let's go and take some beer. Ooh, let's party because I congrats. Ah." Where's the logic? He passed the theory exam and now he's gonna drinking a beer. Where's the guarantee that this kid, 18-year-old kid, will not drive a BMW and be a drunk behind the wheel and destroy someone's life, someone's kid's life on a high speed drunk? That's the whole problem what I'm talking about. The system is concentrated on people who just should know the stupid and complicated rules which have no similarities to the real situations. But if it comes to the drugs, if it comes to the alcohol, no one really cares. And but here in my country, when you're drunk, you just pay a fine about 400 euros and that's it. You're just going forward. Whether in Sweden, if you're driving without a driver's license, or if you're driving drunk, the police will go and get away your fucking driver's license because you don't deserve it. That's the whole problem. And I don't know how to teach people, how to teach young generation to be more thoughtful about yourself. So right now my journey continues and I still don't have my driver's license. And yes, I have failed the theory exam 7 times in a row, but I'm not giving up because driving is an important skill, and it can allow you to reach from the point A to the point B much more faster than with your 2 legs or the way of taking taxi. Becoming a safe driver is worth effort, on my humble opinion. And you know what, my dear viewer, I'm curious about your experience. Was it difficult to get a driving license in your country, and what is the specific rules in your country? Did you pass the theory exam on the first try, or did you struggle like me? Point down right on the commentary section. Write your country in the comments and tell me how hard the driving exam is there, and maybe next time I make a video about this topic. It will be called "I finally passed my driving exam."